Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Today I'm going to be replacing my OEM shifter with a short throw. So today I'm going to be installing an MR2 Heaven TRD replica short throw shifter in my imported MR2. So let's get that out and start putting it together. Car inside a car. Just discovered this little chapstick trinket thing. This little Japanese bag. Also found the cigarette lighter. I have been craving a ciggy. So first things first, you have to get this box out of here before we can get to the shifter down in here. So to get this off, there are 2 screws up here. There are 2 screws down here. And there are 2 screws, one on either side of the box that we have to get off first. So let's do that. Alright, so I've got the 6 screws out of this, so it should just pick right up. Just like that. So now we've got 4 of these little pins. There's one here. There's another one on the other side of the seat. And there's one over on this side. And again, right down here on the side of the seat that we have to pull out. We got some of these off on the other side, and this is actually just a cap that goes over another Phillips head screw. So I'll see if I can pop this off really quick so you guys can see. And it comes right out. So now we have to take off the shift knob and this shift knob surround here, and then this other surround that's right around there. So let's just do that. Pop this part out. Perfect. So now we just have to take off these 4 in order to get this retaining plate up so we can access the shifter down in there. So now after you get these off, there's this one that you have to take off. It's also a 12 millimeter. And then there's this little retaining pin on this side. You just have to separate these shifter cables. And I'm just going to use these needle nose pliers to grab this little pin and see if I can pull it out. There we go. There's also a washer here. You just want to make sure that those stay together so you can put them both back together later. So I've got this lifted off now. I had to separate these electrical cables with their little clips just to be able to lift this up. And you can see on the bottom there are 4 more retaining bolts. They're also 12 millimeters. And once you get those loosened up, you should be able to just screw those right off. But just to note, there's a top and a bottom to these, so just make sure that you don't drop anything. So there we have our shifter taken out. Very greasy, as you can see. So now we have to disassemble this so we can put the new one in. And then there's another retaining piece right here. You want to make sure to keep track of that as well. And this should just be able to come right out. Hello everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the shifter install. It's taken me more than 1 day because I don't know what I'm doing. I got the little cup off the bottom of here. Kind of ridiculously hard to do that. I think it took me 20 minutes. But what eventually worked is I had this. Sits in here like this, and there's a little slot. And I have the thing down in here, and I just use this little lever to pry at the same time as using my thumbs to push this off. So now I'm just going to get off this grease so I can apply some new stuff. As you can see, it's kind of gross in there, kind of old looking. So I'm going to apply some new stuff before I put the new shifter down into this gasket here. All right. So I just took and went inside of this with that microfiber shop towel, and I just cleaned in between these little notches here and also on the ridges on the inside. And now it's nice and clean and ready to have the new grease applied. So I got as much of the grease between these little metal spring parts off as best as I could. And now I'm going to reapply grease and start putting the new shifter together. So these are the two shifters. This is the new MR2 Heaven TRD reproduction short throw, and this is the one that I just pulled out. So I'm not noticing a real difference in the length of them, but the TRD reproduction one came with this bracket here, which I didn't have anything similar to that when I took the old one out. And I'm not taking this little cap off just because the MR2 Heaven one came with another one. So this is the grease that I am going to be putting on the new shifter. It is the Lucas Oil Products Red and Tacky. I don't know if this is the best, but this is what I'm going to use. Just like a can of cat food. Smells like grease. Alright, so let's start putting the grease back on. I gotta put some on here and a little bit down in here before I start reassembling everything. So I'm just putting some grease back onto this spring here where the old grease was, where it was all dark and brown. This stuff definitely looks a lot better. By far tastes a lot better than the old stuff too. So now I'm going to get some grease around on the inside of here, and I'm going to insert the new shifter down into that little gasket. Red and tacky, more like midnight snacky. That went in a lot easier than it came out. So these are supposed to be aluminum replacement bushings for these factory rubber ones, just for a stiffer shifter plate. So I'm going to try to pull these bad boys off and put these replacement bushings on. So on the bottom of this plate, there's just a little metal part. All you have to do is get your screwdriver or some sort of pry tool between the rubber and the metal, loosen it, and it should just slide right out. Alright, so to get these little gaskets out, you kind of have to push it over to the side and try to force it down through the hole that it's sitting in. It does help to kind of grab it from the bottom as you're doing this, just so that it doesn't pop back into place. So as you can see, there's kind of a lip here that fits around that hole. So if you let go of it, it might just snap back into place. Alright, so I've got all of those bushings off. And I also took the chance to clean this plate a little bit. And under it there was some grease that I couldn't get off, but I did the best that I could. Now I'm going to start putting the short throw back in there. Also, while I'm up here, There are also a couple of screws up here. You can see the holes. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but you have to unscrew both of those in order to get that center console off. So we're just greasing up this little gasket before we start reinstalling the new shifter. All right, so now we have the bracket and the shifter put back all together. We're gonna just put this on the underside of the plate here and start putting it all back together. All right, so there's this little washer. You want to put that on there and then reseat this little clip down that hole there, just like that. And this little nut is to get put back on here. To reattach the shifter. Time to put this bad puppy back together. All right, now I've got the console back in. So I'm just gonna start putting these screws back up in these little holes here. And now we're gonna put this in, leave the slides up in there first, and then it should just pop straight down in like that. All right, so now I'm just gonna put the bracket back on top of here. So I have the shift knob back on. I had to use the old leather shift boot just because the cherry blossom one that I have is just too tall now. And after the center console, gotta get our storage space back. Then up top, we've got two more. Can't forget about the little guys on the side. Oh, sorry, just had the hood open. I was just doing some engine work. But anyways, thanks to Abby and Neva for getting me the short throw shifter for Christmas. I really appreciate it, you guys. And in my next video, I wanted to do kind of my import experience. So I went through an importer, so I didn't do it myself. But if you guys had any questions that you wanted to know, anything like that, just leave it in the comments below. I'll try to answer as many as I can. But anyway, thanks for watching.